Godzilla has destroyed many iconic landmarks throughout the years. Atami Castle, the Sydney Opera House, Tokyo Tower, but perhaps the most iconic is the Golden Gate Bridge scene from Godzilla 2014. This scene was miraculously directed by Gareth Edwards and really showed how terrifying an encounter with Godzilla would be, even when it comes to situations where Godzilla's trying to help, like when his dorsal plates rise out of the water, preventing some missiles from hitting a bus of children. But because he's so large, he can't help but cause serious collateral damage. We see everything from the perspective of those on the bridge, which makes it feel more personal. It feels like you're really there in the disaster. We're watching as Ford Brody's son has to look out upon the chaos. We see the children going from playful and hopeful to terrified in an instant, all because of one noise. The signal of Godzilla's approach, and it's haunting. And when the tanks start firing, it feels like we're actually in a war zone. Explosions are going off, people are screaming and trying to escape with their lives. It's a brilliantly done scene. Thankfully, this absolute G of a driver managed to get out before Godzilla crashed through the bridge. In regards to this scene, I thought we'd never revisit it. But upon the teasers for Monarch Legacy of Monsters, it became clear that we'd be stepping foot on that bridge once again. This time from the perspective of Kate Randa, one of the leads of the show, who also happens to work at the school and has a bus full of children under her care. So when you thought this scene couldn't get any better, Apple has come along and introduced some brand new scenes for it that make it more intimate and more terrifying than ever. So let's break down the scene where we revisit the Golden Gate Bridge disaster. Now beware, there will be spoilers for the show, so if you haven't watched episode 1, then I suggest you go watch it. Otherwise, let's break down that scene. Following an emergency siren that detects Godzilla's arrival, Kate is rushed into an emergency shelter where she begins to have a panic attack, and then she breaks down into a PTSD episode where she has flashbacks to that very day in 2014. We see her panicking with a school bus full of children who are screaming, and then we cut to her POV shots from inside the bus as we see Godzilla crashing through the bridge. Cars and trucks and buses are flung off the bridge, crashing down into the water below. The bus tumbles forwards and knocks the driver unconscious. Kate tries to wake him up, but the bus is slowly moving towards the edge of the bridge. Kate shouts to the children that she plans on getting them out of there so they can make it out on foot. She opens the back door, but the bus flings her up and knocks her onto her head. And then we get the money shot. Godzilla being fired upon by the military, trying to keep him from approaching San Francisco. They fire missiles at his head, and he roars, looking just past the eyeline of Kate. And as we can see, Godzilla is much closer to Kate than he was to Ford Brody's son, who was in a much safer position on the other side of the bridge. Kate takes the opportunity to try and get the kids off the bus one at a time. She manages to get 4 or 5 children off the bus before Godzilla swings his arm, with the cables of the bridge flinging tons of concrete right in front of the bus, knocking it into the waters below. Kate watches in horror as the lives of dozens of children are lost, all due to Godzilla. We see the bus disappear into the smoke as it plunges into the bay, and Kate kneels in anguish. Upon this moment, Kate snaps out of it and wakes back up in the emergency shelter in Japan, where it's revealed that the siren was a false alarm. However, as Kate recalls upon the event, she claims that government agents wearing Monarch gear came out of the shadows and started recording and documenting the attack, looking at it as almost an opportunity to learn instead of the tragic disaster it really was. Hundreds of men, women and children had lost their lives, and these Monarch agents were seeing it like it was some sort of museum, which is a really interesting perspective on how government agencies work. There is a lot of shady stuff that goes on behind the scenes. This scene is excellent, not only because it does an amazing job at faithfully recreating the scene from 2014, but also because it demonstrates what the Monarch show is really good at, and that's human drama and being able to connect with the characters on an emotional level. We instantly sympathize with Kate here because, like in the Gareth Edwards film, we were essentially one of the children sat on the bus, seeing it all from our perspective. So when all of this happens, it feels like we're a part of this moment, and it does something that not many TV shows have the guts to do, and that's kill a busload of children, which does an excellent job setting up what you can expect in the series. A show with great human drama, great VFX, and something that's going to challenge what you expect from a television show. But how does this fit in to the scene from 2014? Well, Rick the Squirrel over on Twitter has done a fantastic job fitting this scene into the scene from 2014, and it flows nearly perfectly. So I've taken his cuts and re-edited it using the raw footage to give you the highest quality version of the extended Golden Gate Bridge disaster. So let's take a look at that now. Brilliant, just brilliant. Go follow him over on Twitter, and if you want to watch that whole scene unedited, the link will be in the description. Matt Shakman has done an incredible job bringing Godzilla to life in a faithful fashion to Gareth Edwards' original. I'm really happy he's following through with the more serious tone. It's really making the monster scene stand out. But what did you think about episode 1 of Monarch Legacy of Monsters? Are you hyped for more? Let us know in the comment section down below. We have tons of new Titan breakdowns coming up, so subscribe and stomp the notification button to become a resident of Dangerville today. And be sure to give this video a Kong-sized thumbs up. I've been Alistair, and we'll see you residents in the next one.